Can you prove that gravity has been consistent on this planet since it existed? Can you prove that? How could you prove it? You go back in time and measure it, and therefore the idea that the speed of light is a constant is falsifiable. They can't prove it, and yet physics insists on falsifiability for everyone else, but for itself it says no, we can decide that the speed of light is constant and that gravity has always been constant. And it's just a lie. It's a lie. They can't prove it. And the frustration for me as an engineer of having information that I believe I can prove through sheer weight of evidence, that no single piece of evidence says it's proven, but that the weight of evidence clearly indicates that it is proven that gravity is more likely to be variable than constant. So we're living in a world where we accept lies because science lies, and so the world lies and everyone lies, and the world of God says speak the truth, always speak the truth. So there's the answer. The devil is in charge because the devil is allowed to lie, and we allow them because of this idea of falsifiability. So imagine a world where gravity was 6. I believe gravity should be 2 pi, 6.2. Imagine that we lived in a world where gravity was a third less than what it is now. How would our bodies look? Would our bodies make some sense? Look at the leg and look at a dog's leg. Our heels that we walk on are not designed for walking on. That's for slouching around the camp. When we're out and we're moving around, we're mobile as a tribe of hunter-gatherers, we're on our toes. And it's easy to be on our toes because the weight of gravity is not forcing our heels onto the floor. And we've got a double spring at last in our leg. And think about how fast we could move, how comfortable it would be, that our back problems that we have and all the problems that we have with our skeletal and muscular skeletal at the moment is associated with this single idea that we're actually moving wrong. Now, it's hard in this gravity 10, it's almost impossible to maintain motion for a long time on your toes. And I'm going to link this idea of the gravity and our bodies being wrong to music and frequency. The question has long been asked. There's a huge rabbit hole you can vanish down, but the argument between 440 and 432 for the note of A, and the sequence of frequencies of notes that build from either perspective. You can A is 440 or A is 432. Now imagine a world of lower gravity. Why would it be lower gravity? Would be because the planet spins faster, has greater momentum, and therefore the atmosphere is tauter. There's more tension in the actual outside of the atmosphere, which is water, force. A meniscus of force of water is replicated in our atmosphere. So can you imagine that this might be true, that the idea that gravity is variable, it's not falsifiable, therefore it might be right, that our bodies would make sense in a lower gravity environment in terms of how we would move with a double spring. The reason that you have to adjust the tuning of musical instruments in order to play in all keys is because the membrane of the atmosphere is too big. It's not taut enough. Its resonant frequencies are out of sync with the way that we're living and the way that we should live. There's an imbalance. So what I'm suggesting as an unfalsifiable proposal, but the sheer weight of evidence indicates this is more likely to be true than the constant gravity that science is that if the planet was spinning faster, if the atmosphere was tauter, if the Schumann resonance was based on, let's say, the 432 of A, then music would sound better. The quality of the music would improve. At the moment, if we listen to something in 432 and 440, there is a difference, of course, in pitch. But it isn't noticeably worthwhile making that move. They both sound good. You tune to 432 or to 440, they'll both sound good to your ears. You'll still need to do the adjusted tuning of a musical instrument, whatever frequency you start on. So you haven't gained anything, you've just adjusted the pitch. The reason that 432 for A is so important is that if the planet is spinning correctly, that is the note of A. Those with perfect pitch would say that is A. They detect the 432. Musical instruments would be tuned to the correct mathematical steps between each note, and you could play any key starting from that position. So when we're looking at healing for ourselves into an augmented reality, we are only replicating a simulation of what the world should be like. We are unable to gain the true healing properties of the corrected frequency because it's still carrying the corrupted frequencies of the atmosphere, which is not taut enough. And the experiment is simply this: for healing into augmented reality, as each person can experience a reality in which 432 represents truth of existence, and begins to really bring themselves to the understanding of the truth that this might be right, you will feel better. You will start to notice a difference between the way that the frequencies are operating, because there'll be some notes which are replicating the perfection of how the atmosphere should be resonating its music. It's provable only by doing. You have to accept this might be true and do it to find out that it is. But as an individual, we will get very little. You only get a glimpse of what may be achieved from making this step. But communally, as a collective, within our consciousness, as we begin to experience music correctly, bringing it to its proper frequencies, forcing it in our minds to hear notes, knowing that there is adjustment made in them, and bringing them into a proper resonance in our own minds, what will happen is the atmosphere will begin to tauten. That the balance between the centrifugal and centripetal forces that create the stability of the elastic membrane of the planet, which replicate the elastic membrane of the atmosphere, will begin to heal themselves. And so we will heal the planet through collective action of understanding a frequency, and that by so doing, the planet will heal us. That's my conjecture. And the experiment to do it is that we just have to do it. So that the work we can do with augmented reality is to use AI and all the technological skills that we have to bring to bear to try to recreate this perfection in an individual's experience of themselves and what they are experiencing of the world. And with the teaching of the potential of science, that Leve can actually prove this to science, just accept that it could, that we will begin to heal. And those individuals who are experiencing this, who had an experience that is designed around this concept, will begin to feel better. And that's all we want, really, isn't it? To feel better. That's all I want. It's for me to feel better and for you to feel better. That's the world we can live in. 432. Let's see.